Mind reading present. Here's what happens if you stop texting the first time. What happens if you stop texting? Will you eventually be able to attract that special person's attention, or will he forget that you exist? Texting is definitely a part of our daily lives. No matter if you're already in a relationship or still trying to get to know each other better, you'll most likely use text messaging as your primary way of communicating. This is a great way to stay in touch between dates. Replying to messages takes little time, and you can do it easily whenever you are free. However, if you've always been the one who messages first, you probably know how unpleasant it can be to wait for hours or sometimes even days for a response. It hurts to be the one who always starts a conversation while the other person seems to be waiting for you to start first. There's nothing good about feeling like this when you start thinking of yourself as someone who can live without it. You realize that if you don't message him first, he probably won't bother to start a conversation. He would rather wait for you to send a message than call you. This awareness makes you think about one thing in particular. What happens if you stop messaging first? Will your relationship continue? Or will you completely lose the man you like? Will he just give up? Or will he finally try? When you stop texting first, even though you used to always do it, everything starts to feel different. Literally, everything about you and your relationship changes. As time goes by and your partner realizes that you are no longer texting him, he or she begins to understand that something is wrong. Your relationship has changed for a reason, and now he has to figure out what happened. When you stop texting first, even though you used to always do it, everything starts to feel different. Literally, everything about you and your relationship changes. As time goes by and your partner realizes that you are no longer texting him, he or she begins to understand that something is wrong. Your relationship has changed for a reason, and now he has to figure out what happened. Number 1. You don't look desperate. Let's be honest, when you meet a guy you like, you immediately feel like chasing him so that he doesn't leave you. You struggle to get his attention, and more often than not, you end up being the one who sends the message first. The desire to stay with him only grows when you're willing to do whatever it takes to keep him there. After all this, you finally look desperate. You show him that you need him in your life, and that you are willing to pursue him, no matter what happens. And even if you think that he will like this behavior, on the contrary, he will only like attention. You'll be food for his ego because it's nice to have someone willing to do anything to secure a place in your life. So, when you stop texting first, you immediately eliminate the possibility of looking hopeless. You show your partner that you won't go out of your way for him or her just because you like him or her. The effort in a relationship should be balanced, especially if you're just starting out. You don't want him to think that he can't do anything and still get your attention. Instead, he should know that he needs to fight for you if he wants you to stay by his side. Number 2. He starts to miss you. It doesn't matter if you've just met or you're already in a relationship. You should always make sure to give a guy a chance to miss you. If you don't, there's a greater risk of losing it because he won't know what it's like not to be with you. At some point, your presence in his life will be too much to face because he will start to feel like you are always by his side. When he feels like he doesn't have the space or time to himself anymore is when he starts to think that he's better off without you. He may feel like you're suffocating him and not allowing him to live his life on his own. However, when you stop texting him first and show him that he can do whatever he wants, he will realize that he can't imagine himself without you. He'll start to miss you because he'll know what it's like to lose you completely. From then on, the interest between the two of you will soon grow. He will realize that he needs you by his side, and he will not risk losing you no matter what. Number 3. You find out if he wants to stay in touch with you. As long as you message first, you can never know for sure that he really wants you in his life. Yes, communication does go back and forth, but is the only reason for that being the fact that you are the one who is responsible for starting it. If you need to send her a text message to start a relationship, does that mean she won't do anything if she doesn't receive your message? Will he make sure to contact you, or is he okay if he doesn't hear from you? You'll find out the truth when you stop messaging them first. After that, you'll realize if she's willing to make an effort to stay in touch with you, or if she's okay with losing you. If he doesn't text you for days after you're not the one who started the conversation, it's obvious that he doesn't really care about you. The only reason why you stay in touch is because you are the one who initiated the communication. When you take a step back, he decides that you're not worth the effort. It just shows that he doesn't like you the way you think. He is only there when you need him and when you are the one who fights for him. Number 4. You don't look like a needy person. Women who need attention are very no-no. Men don't like such women, and men usually tend to stay away from such women when they see them. If you are always the first person to send messages, you can be considered the person in need. You give him a signal that you always want to stay in touch with him. At some point, this behavior even starts to feel controlling and possessive, and no man likes it. However, when you stop messaging him first and give him the opportunity to be the person who will contact you, you show him that you are not the one who needs him. You won't always notice it because you have a life of your own to live. So, when you give him enough space and he sends you a message first, it just shows that he really wants you in his life. Number 5. It shows if he is willing to put in the effort to keep you nearby. The effort is interesting. As you see him working hard to keep you close to him, you start to feel that he deserves your love. However, it will never be interesting if you put in the effort yourself. When you do everything for him and he doesn't give you anything in return, you will quickly realize that he is not the right man for you. So, when you stop texting first and he doesn't even reply to your message, it's a sign that his feelings aren't real. The only reason for your previous communication is the fact that you were the one who started it. It will never be clearer that he does not want you in his life, because his actions prove it to you. You may be just a compliment and nothing more than that. However, when you stop texting first and he's still trying to contact you and keep the communication going, that's how you know he's a real guy. He won't play with your feelings, but he'll do anything to keep you close to him. Yes, that's the kind of man you need in your life. Number 6. You save yourself from ghosting. Ghosting is probably one of the most hated words in modern times. How could it not be? You give all your time and attention to a man, but never hear from him. He disappears from your life as if you mean nothing to him. Then usually he contacts you once you forget about him. Ghosting is an annoying game, and we all go to great lengths to avoid it. No one wants to experience torture for realizing that your loved one decided to abandon you completely. However, if you stop sending text messages first, you will avoid such situations. You'll stay away before things get tough. At that point, you avoid being overlooked because you don't give him a chance to play with you. You escape a little earlier than he expected, which saves your heart from any pain you may be experiencing. Number 7. You save yourself from having to always do all the hard work. I know you like this guy, and that's why you want to keep communicating. You want to give your best, so you know it's not your fault if something doesn't go as planned. However, if you're always the first to send a message, you're actually showing him that you don't mind doing all that hard work. You don't care that you have to struggle to get his time and attention. Even if you think that this is not what was expected, believe me when I say that he sees it that way. He thinks that you will always be there to do the heavy lifting, while his job is just to reply to your messages from time to time. If you stop texting him first from now on, and he makes no effort to contact you, then it's clear what happened. Honestly, he never cared about you. He just loves the idea of talking to someone, and I'm sure it's not something you're looking for. Number 8. You get enough time to focus on yourself. When you stop texting, you realize that you have a life of your own to live. You realize that you are ignoring yourself, your friends, and your hobbies while focusing only on that one person. Don't get me wrong. I know you want this relationship to work. You don't want to lose this guy because you really feel like he's the person. However, do you really want him to spend all your time? Do you think it's fair that you ignore all other things because he? Isn't this a bit exaggerated, especially if you've just started dating? I know that it's very easy to forget about everyone. When you meet the person you want to spend the rest of your life with, you shift all your focus to him, but in the end, you realize that it doesn't give you anything in return. There you are, walking around like crazy, always carrying your phone in your hands. You wait for him to reply to your messages, call you, or even ask you out. And even though he's the only person you have in mind, he probably doesn't think of you at all. He lived his life as if you didn't exist, while you couldn't stop wondering about him. But when you stop messaging them first and focus all your time and energy on yourself, you realize that all along, you've been a fool. You've been waiting for him, committing to him every second of the day, while he's not doing anything for you. Now, things have turned around, and you won't be the one chasing him anymore. You will now make yourself a priority, and if he likes you, as he says, he will show it through his actions. Number 9. You make others realize that they can't take you for granted. When you show others that they don't have to fight for you because you'll always be there for them, they'll start to think you're mediocre. They immediately realize that you are not going anywhere and that they can play with you for as long as they want. They assume that you will not leave them no matter what happens, and that is why they do not pay much attention to you. Instead of trying, they act as if you're the only one who should be fighting for the relationship. However, when you stop sending text messages first, everything changes. The realization that you won't be there for her if she can't be there for you makes her understand that she'll lose you. He then realizes that he can't expect you to stay behind when he's not doing anything for you. Underestimating you won't help him, and he has to do something if he doesn't want to end up without you. Number 10. He finally realizes your worth. It is clear that we all appreciate something after losing it, and the same goes for humans. When you lose someone who means a lot to you, you'll realize that they're an important part of your life. When they are close to you, you assume that they will always be there. However, everything changed after they left. The same scenario will repeat when you stop sending messages first. A man who is used to receiving your messages will not know what is going on. He will start to miss you, and then he will realize that you play a huge role in his life. He will eventually realize your worth, and he will be sad, because he will no longer hear from you. I know we all try to be fair and ignore this game of mind, but still, that's the reality we have to face. We all miss those who are no longer part of our lives, while we ignore those who are still there. But everything changes when you make a guy realize your self-worth before it's too late. Stop texting him now, and he will open his eyes and finally see the truth. He will see how amazing you are and begin to appreciate your self-esteem. That's when things will change for the better. Number 11. You set your boundaries. It doesn't matter if you've just started dating or have been in a relationship for quite some time. When you stop texting first, you show the guy that you have boundaries that you don't want to break. You won't let him sit around and wait for you to do all the work. You won't be the one who puts all his efforts into it while he doesn't do anything in return. Instead, you'll show him that he has to fight for you if he doesn't want to lose you. He has to chase you, because staying silent and doing nothing won't take him anywhere. Once he understands this, he will know that he cannot assume that he will always be near you if he does not show interest in you. Replying to a message you send him is one thing, but it's another story when he's the one initiating the communication. Once he realizes it, it will be easier for the two of you to build a healthy and balanced relationship. Number 12. You become a challenge. Let's face it, men love challenges. They love the idea of chasing a woman they like because they know it's the only way to get it. But when you give up and show that you're willing to pursue them, they start to move away. Instead of keeping them interested, you're just taking them back a step. When you stop texting first and let a guy do most of the work, you feel like a challenge again. And guess what? He starts chasing you. Trust me, he'd rather fight for your attention than get it without trying. He likes to be chased, even if you think it will only keep him away. Number 13. He is aware that he could lose you if he doesn't do anything about it. As long as you contact him, he feels like he has earned a place in your life and heart. He thinks you're not going anywhere. However, when you stop sending them messages in advance, everything changes. He realizes that reality and realizes that he could have lived without you. He can't allow himself to lose you, and he knows that he has to do something to prevent that from happening. He needs to change his routine and show that he really cares about you. That's when he starts messaging you first. He no longer waits for you to pick up the phone and send him a message, but instead, he does it before you. Because he wants you to know that his feelings are real, he contacts you. He can't live without you, and he will make sure to show it to you. He'll make you his priority because he finally understands that you've done most of the work all along. You are the one who initiates the communication. Although he loves to chat with you, it never crossed his mind that sometimes he has to take the first step. You are the one who has moved the mountain for him while he doesn't even care to do anything for you. It was time for him to do something different. He has to change his behavior or he will lose you forever. He had to make the right decision, which he wouldn't regret later. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends so we can keep making them. For more videos like this, hit the subscribe button and remember to click on the notification bell. Also, be sure to check out our other videos as well. Thanks for watching.